There's many contestants in BFDI that have their own funny quirks and gimmicks. But how well do all these quirks and gimmicks fare? Well, that's what we're going to find out today. We begin with the original 20, our middling 40, and ending with our 6 newbies. That's 66 contestants in total that could very well change knowing the semantics of tpot at the moment. So let's waste no time and see which one deserves the Power War 2, or which one deserves to be locked away in the BRB for the rest of time. We begin our list with Blocky, the prankster, the funny doer. He was an absolute menace in BFDI, killing people to get a reaction. Not even just killing everyone, targeting people. Honestly, I'm impressed and very admired. I aspire to be a funny doer like Blockster here. He has calmed down in BFB a little bit. He's not a raging psychopath. I mean, he is, but has a limit when it comes to grass blades, I suppose. A tier. Bubble is someone you can't help but feel bad for. Her existence begins and ends at essentially being the relationship equivalent of No Man's Land. But enough pity party, she's still pretty cool, especially with her iconic line. Not A, but a happy old B for a happy old Bubble friend. Well, maybe happy seems to be the wrong word here. Quite sucked in BFDI, basically just a loser that just acted as a foil for Fiery. However, BFDI onwards, he absolutely went for a glow up. His friendship with Pin can be very sweet to watch. However, due to his first season growing pains, he's just limited to a B now. We can see if that changes or not. I don't know if it will. You think David's a joke? Think again. He's a true loyal friend at heart. Not so much for a teacher, but come on, tell me you didn't cry for 5 hours after you failed to say Rabati for 4. Do you have feelings? Good. Now David, tell us what you want to be put in. C tier? Aye aye, Captain. Rex is such a funny character to me. It's like Blocky minus the fame of having his own broadcasting company. I love how he toppled over the strongest team on Earth and even brought justice for our mystery character. His on and off irrational fears of pentagons, him defending his masculinity, beef with Bottle, what hasn't he done? S tier. Fiery is the subjective main character of the show, or rather was, which is weird considering Racer was right there. I quite liked Fiery outside the Leafy stuff. He's so unfunny that he wraps around being funny again. I think he'd be right perfectly in the in-betweeners, if I'm honest with you, with his awkwardness. With the Leafy stuff, it gets a bit messy. I'm certainly not going to let it affect my rating for him, but what it will is post-BFDI. Nonetheless, he's a little twerp and kinda lit. I'm sorry guys, B tier. This might be unpopular, but Flower was so unhinged in season 1 that I couldn't help but find her funny. Threatening to assassinate an announcer if she loses a vote amuses my totally not historically rotten brain. Also just dig her voice. It's annoying but not too annoying. She was also pretty cool in BFB, although it was massively toned down unfortunately. Got herself on another voting scandal, but being on the receiving end this time. Okay, the first time was funny, but the second time wasn't. I hate you now, Flower. C tier. Golfer was so punchable is great. Like Flower, she's absolutely obnoxious, but it's done in a way that makes her incredibly funny. Her chemistry with Tennis Ball is so strong that people call Tennis Ball a simp in Tpot 5 for sticking up for her. That was a good time. Speaking of the devil, I'm glad we still have him in Tpot, especially since our rubber friend has well fallen. Everslew, a non-alcoholic beer, and an A tier, my brave knight. There isn't much for me to talk about Ice Cube, other than the fact that she A, needs to stay away from cubes, B, Mini Ice Cube is adorable, I want her as a pet, and C, has a certain relationship with Book. I would give her a C, but her mini counterpart is drawing me to an S tier. What the hell, it's almost the winter season in Australia, and I'm feeling generous, especially with her vengeful side, A tier. Me and Leafy share a lot in common, is why I would be saying, if she wasn't a fraud! And not only that, she's a fraud at a football! That's not a football, this is a football! Me and my football homies are absolutely living, and we need to follow Ice Cube's calling for revenge! If you weren't actually pretty cool, Leafy, I'd put you in left, but I'd be ever so thankful you're simply getting a C tier. Like Match, like you, like so cool, like you, like... Okay, I'm gonna stop. But no, joking, Match is an awesome pal, albeit having a bit of a screw loose. Actually, this time me and Match have something in common. We're both pretty tall, and we're both magic quick. I'm not tall, I'm only 6 foot. Anyway, it doesn't matter. She can get up in A tier. Needle's an absolute juggernaut, you do not want to get her no way. Her voice is shrill, but again, I kinda dig it. Her 3D design is absolute cinema. I even found her on the way home from Asda. It's awfully blurry, but hey, it's certainly there. And you do not want to call her needy, trust me. I'm not being hyperbolic, but my Needle friend, get yourself an S tier. Okay, we might not all agree on the Needle question, but I'm confident we could agree on the pencil question, right? However, I would bring her an S tier, but I do feel like these 3 are united with a Match friend, so you know what? A tier. They can play Spongy Cake 12 please continue. Wait, how much we have left? Oh my gosh! Here's a certified hood classic. Penn Island. I want to go to Penn Island. I especially want to go there to meet the President Penn. He's a really swell guy. Pens are also very useful. It's also got that really annoying feather and ink. However, the more I think about it, especially looking at the all spaces, no caps, wait, it's no spaces, all caps. Gosh, I'm so stupid. The less I want to go to Penn Island. Get away from me, man! A tier. Penn started out as being a bossy no-nuts. Understandable if it was something like getting caught on a meme coin scam, but if not, she has no excuse. However, like Courtney, she also had a glow up and became far more enjoyable to watch. She even became a mech in BFDIA. Now that's something you don't see every day. She also has such a charming voice and a charismatic one. Don't believe me? Doesn't this guy sound like Pin to you? Of course he does. If Courtney has to be a B tier, then she could go one step beyond an A. Hope she doesn't lose her limbs again. Please take Rocky to the hospital. He clearly needs medical attention. That amount of bathing can't be okay for anyone. Is what I would be saying if it wasn't built in him. Anyways, Rocky is certainly the character of all time. I don't hate him, but he's certainly not that great. Like, his dynamic with Blooney, even if it was short, it was sweet. I do appreciate him enough to put him in a nice C tier. Here's a little fact about Snowball in the context of the video. When I combined the list of the characters I wanted to rank, I realized I only had 65 characters. Thinking I had everyone else, I for some reason had not existing to fill the slot, will unfortunately not be ranked in this list. Maybe next time, however. When I was writing the script though, I realised I completely overlooked Snowball. And that was a disgrace to my end, so I'm sorry my Snowballers. I hope you accept my apology by putting him in A tier so we can be friends again. If this was 5 years ago, Fester, Spongy would have been an S, but even or not, he was actually my favourite. Must have been a whole underdog thing with him, I don't know. But what I do know is that Spongy has done irreversible damage to my child brain. Now I'm 17, and instead of doing something 17-year-olds are doing, like playing the fruit machine, sewing, and having normal 17-year-old interests like Attack on Titan or Radiohead, tell me why my interest on this show, Angry Birds, Sonic the Hedgehog. Spongy, do you know what it's like to wake up every morning knowing you have to debate with people the ethics of why I think Shadow the Hedgehog is an absolute traitor? You've done this to me! You've done this to me! I feel so sad and disappointed at the same time. Someone I've looked up to for so many years have done so much damage to me. I needed to put him in F now!
Sorry guys, I lost my voice after all that screaming and thus must communicate with text-to-speech. Apparently, screaming at the top of your lungs about a kitchen sponge wasn't too good for the old doctors. Anyways, it's fitting considering our next in line is Teardrop. Outside of her unnecessary, yet fine with appearance in tpot, she's really cracked. Too cracked actually. I wonder how good she is at Fortnite. It doesn't matter. B tier.
Hey guys, I just came back from the hospital. Anyways, where were we? Oh yeah, Tennis Ball. He's iconic. His actually personality provides so much great comedy, especially ones regarding his strength. His monotone voice, you can never fail to bring me a chuckle whenever it does. But don't let his demeanor fool you, for he is really smart, like Golf Ball, but not like Snowball. Must have been selective, eh? Whatever, to do this to TB with the service, would not to put him in S tier. Woody is such a cute little guy, and when he does something, I can't help but smile. He may not be all that interesting, but that doesn't mean much when my happiness levels are through the roof. Seeing him happy, I'm happy. And when I'm happy, I put him in B tier, because he is happy, and that means I'm happy as well. We are now officially in Section B, the characters that either competed in BFDI A, or those that technically debuted but didn't quite make the cut. Our first character on the list is Bommy, and what an explosive first expression. He has such a scaredy cat persona like Woody, but you can't help but laugh at him because of how exaggerated the circumstances are. What's a chunk of wood gonna do compared to a literal bomb? I especially love this parody with someone did an impression of him singing Banana Phone. Absolute cinema. C for cinema. Ew, books! I hate reading. As a literate person myself, who for some reason decided to take A-level history, I hate you, book! DT! In BFDIA, Donut was certainly affably named. But he grew to be one of my favourites. Not my favourite of the cast so far, but I love his Shrimpman personality, especially when some weird stuff happens to him. But then again, he did sacrifice himself for Spongy. Forgive and forget. S tier. Ugh, what is that? David is meant to have a hair? I don't care if you're a competition machine. Get out my screen now! F tier, dude. Thrice is my favourite character. of the BFDI
Hey.
cast. Does it beat Erase as my personal favourite overall, so far at least? That's a tall order. You get the joke? But no, Fries is practically perfect every way. His raspy voice, his abrasive nature, his friendship with Purple, enforcing people to do labour. Me and him have so much in common. Let's meet up for a lager, a burger, at 6:30 shop at S-Tier Square, brother. See you there. Gelatin's a weird one. He seems to be like the Fiery of BFB, a giddy little loony. I think he looks really stupid, particularly everything about Gelatin stupid. I heard your birthday's coming up soon, so happy birthday, I suppose, if that comes around. Celebrate with your fire counterpart in B tier.
Dark humor is the way some people cope with tragedy.
Nickel is an element of the periodic table with an atomic weight of 58.69. It is also a relatively good conductor of electricity, although not as good as copper, but on the flip side, it is shown to be more reactive. And judging by Nickel in the show, it's chemistry obvious. An oobly goobly A tier for our favourite oobly goobly goober. Certainly better than another certain goober. I like Puffball, even when she could be a greedy little scamp like in BFDI 5e, or a con man. She goes along with immoral behaviour, I love it. Because nepotism is around the corner, I'm tempted to put her in S tier with Fries, but I'm thinking A tier. Too much nepotism can cause the business to die. One of Ruby's sisters is Pooh. Easy S tier. Someone like Yellowface you expect to be absolutely awful. I mean, just look at him. He literally appeared as a joke. He even killed someone in one of his advertisements. Don't! Someone's been learning it too from BFDI. No, not that BFDI. Oh, that BFDI. This BFDI. Goodness, clearly you don't know your BFDI lore. Anyways, Yellowface gets a C tier. Not awful, but the student needs more training. But do you know who's not only awful, but also abysmal, horrendous, terrible, catastrophic, gnarly, dire, horrid? Look, none other than 8-Ball. I have to say, does anyone actually like this guy? I'm fairly convinced this guy has literally no fans at all, theoretically or practical. He just acted like a loser for a few episodes and get crushed to death, and that was his highlight. Remember, if it looks like a loser, smells like a loser, tastes like a loser, then it is a loser. No, not that loser, the adjective, F tier. In polar opposites, Balloony is great. He's such a chill guy, albeit a bit strange. Whatever, it doesn't matter. He even loves salt and vinegar, like me. He even got to be a true king of BFD at 16. We became a full-blown dictator silencing his opposition. Woo! S tier! Congratulations, Bath Bag. You get to be the halfway mark with the list. Your prize? Well, you used to be best friends with Spongy, but if I could forgive and forget with Donut, I'm sure I could do the same with you too. She also appears to be a victim of Spongy's. It all works out in the end. And on her own, she's pretty cool. So let's see. You appear to have 2 Bs already. So let's make it a hat trick and throw you in B. How does that sound? Basketball went from being a loser sheep to the, well, second worst person ever, to being one of the most renounced in Teapot. Her arc with Robot Flower is generally so cool. I love how she offended Eggy by calling her a ball. I used to really like Basketball when I first watched that show, so it all works out. Thank you, Basketball. S tier for me, Doc. Belle is a short-tempered Belle. I don't think many people get as genuinely livid as she can. Honestly, I'm impressed. A tier. You know, they say black holes always win in the end, and in the case of Black Hole, he's certainly winning alright. Literally, he's still in Teapot. Very much of a man on tail, not show. Do I like it? It's a little creatively dull, but do I respect it? Well, I guess I do, considering I'm putting him in A tier. Bottle's such a wholesome person to watch. Seeing her try to host a Teapot is so sweet to watch. I reckon we should give her a B tier, as it's the first letter in the name. Bracely. What to say about Bracely? Honestly, my brain is kind of fried at the moment. I'd like to have some ice on my head, please. What the hell? Give her a C tier. Speaking of C, Cake's here. He kind of sucked eggs in BFB, but a Teapot, he was a pretty cool cat. So to add icing on the cake, we'll even it out and put him at C as well. Tick tock, what's the time, Mr. Clock? It's time to be paying my bills. Well, let's see. Oh my goodness! Why, thank you for informing me, Clock. As a present, you can have another C. It's funny. Every time I watch outside, I see cloudies. I'm not complaining. I love that massive collecting. As a former collector myself, I had great connections with the guy. Granted, I used to collect DVDs of mid-movies as opposed to, well, literally anything. So you know what? Props to you, man. Hey, tier. Thank goodness, I can finally be cool again. I eat Eggy for breakfast. I'd put an F because she always makes me eggy, but she does deliver some great protein. Certainly more nutritious than cake, I suppose. And also some guy on YouTube, you might not have heard about him, he made a killer video on her, go check it out. D tier. But like, one bad decision away from F tier. No, not the video, it's just eggy. Wait, what's this character's name? Is it bad enough that I only broadcast to people that are monolingual and Scottish Gaelic? I don't need that taken away. If you weren't such a good character, I'd chuck you an F. So you're gonna have to take my hateful D and you're gonna have to make something out of it. Wait, Fiery has a kid? And he's a snarky little emo? Granted, he does have a pretty lame name, but it could be worse, I suppose. I wonder what his favourite Sonic the Hedgehog character is. Must be Shadow. Shadow the Hedgehog? That's some grade A taste. So have that fit and put you in A, mate. Actually, no. I don't think he's A tier. I'd be cordial and put him in B, though, with his dad. I would love a friend like Katie. She has the tone and personality of a therapist, which is fairly accurate with a relationship with two, actually. A simple S tier from me. Just like Cloudy, and unlike your average BFDI fan, I see Grassy on a daily basis. I love how she was portrayed as far more brutal and tpot than BFB, which was debatably partly raised by Blocky of all people. I love Grassy, you love Grassy, we all love Grassy, and we all love him to be in B tier. Lightning is such a cool season 4 of Total Drama Revenge of the Island character. I especially love what he says, let's share and then lightning. Let's share lightning! Easy S tier. Oh wait, you mean the BFB lightning? Well, he's cool, I guess, but certainly not S. A it is, I suppose. Let's see here. How many licks does it take to get to a center of a lollipop? An average about 1,000 actually. And what does number 1,000 make you think of? That's right, 1,000 reasons why she sucks. But also 1,000 reasons why she's pretty good. C's here, I suppose? How many characters made it on BBC News? That's right, 1. And that's our friend, Space Rocket with legs. Wait, no, that's Marker. Marker! No! B tier. Lady really nailed out of the ballpark. Her expressions, voice, personality, truly a sharp tool. She could join a warm friend Bommy in B as well. Wait, what do you mean Bommy's in C? Bring him up. If Pencil and Match gets to be together, what's stopping Bommy and Ailey? They're only about 1,000 times more deadly. I've never actually had a traditional pie, or at least remember having one. What I did have is an apple crumble, which is tangentially similar, I suppose. All this to say, pie wouldn't exactly be the sweetest. I respect it somewhat. D tier. Next we have Pillow, who is a very avid researcher. I wonder what she does in a bed. Does she sleep with a pillow on top? Maybe she doesn't have one at all. Who knows? What I do know is I'm too scared to her to even really tolerate her. F tier. Our first entry of our Mechanical Mind series. I really admire Remote's design. For Remote in of herself, well, she did commit borderline terrorism in BFB, and that does make me scared of the robot revolution. But on the other hand, I think a B would suffice. Who's the main mug that made themselves to a robot? Can you imagine if I did that? What? Alright, I'm a little scared that she's actually better than all organic counterpart. B tier. Roboti is such a mystery of a character. He speaks strictly in Morse code, yet I think it'd be funny if you never get a translation of what he says. Like, all we hear is random beeps, and we have some Shakespearean monologue coming from him. And especially what he has been through, I wouldn't have had it past him. More than any other character, I feel bad for this dude. Enjoy an 8 tier, meaning yes, Roboti gets 3 ranked higher than literally all these important characters. I'm so serious about this list, thank you. But on the other hand, he does rank higher than Spongy, so I'm assuming that all evens out. Man, isn't life great? There's one time I saw a magpie at the park. You get the joke? Anyway, the only thing sorted for me is trying to rectify my low self-esteem and toast my comedic value, so thanks so for hurting me, man. It hurts more than if you just hand my arm off or something. Thanks a lot. FT. I don't feel bad for Taco. Having a name in a horror show of an establishment can be great. Even if she has the personality of one of their toilets, I only hold massive condolences for you, buddy. Put some F's in the chats, lads. She honestly deserves it. What a trooper Tree is. Not only is he one of my favourite characters at Tpot, and I'm so happy he's still in the game, I'm very thankful for the existence of him. Delivering oxygen and absorbing CO2 in the atmosphere, I salute thee, brother. S tier. The final character we're going to talk about before our last 6 in Section C is TV. What a way to end it. He's the last of our Mechanical Minds quadrilogy and seems to be our last standing. Although you can't really watch like Breaking Bad or Angry Birds tunes on him, he does have the providers of such things. He does communicate in Splice prior episodes. He used as a host and a vote counter, so he's a pretty busy boy. I'm happy to end this portal list with one last C tier. Section C, our last 6, that one that made their true debut in BFB or Tpot. Of course, the first 4 were made previous appearances, but they were never up for a debut, so we're covering them all there, and we're beginning with number 61, Foldy. who I'm not going to rank just yet. I actually have something incredible special cooking up for her, so I'll announce that at the end of the video. I do feel a little bit incomplete without her on the tier list, so this is what I'm going to do. She's going to be put in a special X tier, where it may or may not fluctuate in positions depending on how I'm feeling, to really capture the neutrality of the X tier. So now we're getting to our very first ranking, Lie. I'm a little afraid of light switches, especially old-fashioned, and what do you know, she has both. Talk about no respect for the poor humans watching. She returned in Teapot where she grew in more and more on me, especially with her friendship with Pen. I like her a lot, but I'm still a little bit scared of the light switches. Hate it. Well done. You're affably named, are you, loser? You even got cancelled. How did that even happen? You're just a cartoon character. They don't have careers. Anyways, whether he gets cancelled or not is redundant, because losers, pardon my Greek, dog shit. Must be some intense bribe job in the losers. Someone check on them for case of corruption. F tier. Our first of the two Teapot debuters come to the form of price tag. In the beginning, they did seem to be very similar to Naily, but because I like her, I'm fine with that. However, given that Naily's been given, well, the final nail in the coffin, price tag has impressed me a whole lot. I do find him decent, so that warrants a C tier, I suppose. Our penultimate character comes in the form of Stapy, and honestly, I kinda dig how random this list organisation was. Would have had to like Woody or something to be on this list or something like that, considering that most of the lists seem to go wholly alphabetically. But seeing Stapy as the second last character is quite funny, but let's talk about him. Cheaters never win, they say. Well, actually they don't, considering he got limited in the next bit after he cheated, and even his right-hand woman puffballs in the bottom two of them. He might have my favourite animation of any character, bouncing everywhere he wants, which I suppose is fair considering, can you imagine him with scrawny legs, especially with this tank of a body? Yeah, I don't think so. So let's chuck him in high B tier, and let's get to our last character. And the winner of being the 66th and last character to be ranked is our homeboy, Winner. What his saying so loves about Winner, we got the accent of tree, wants to be humble, I like that better than a friend, and is certainly the best of the two debuts. I'm sorry this is rather anticlimactic, but Winner's practically like everyone else I like. They're simply very cool, so let's have one last huzzah in A tier. You think we're done? Well, get planked! We got the X in the room to look at. I never exactly detailed who's my least favourite or my favourite character, but you know, 40 was either one of the two due to the exclusivity of the X tier she's in. And for the warm friends nominated for the latter, you'll be surprisingly correct. And why didn't I chuck her in S tier? Well, you'll find out in the coming months, as that'll be a topic of a massive video, which I merely promised myself to do for years. Okay, confession time. A lot of this list was fabricated and doesn't actually reflect my true opinions on many. Surprisingly, Sword did not destroy my self-esteem, it's been long gone before. If I give you the guys my honest list, it'd be the most dead video ever. Is it slightly clickbaity? Kinda, I guess. I'll issue our full honest tier list I made in about 5 minutes. As you can see, the lowest is A for the C tier, and everyone else is B tier onwards, and most being an A or S. See what I mean? I reckon I keep this up to my last frame of the video as I finish things up, because, well, this is my apology for you for sort of lying to you guys. Hope you could be friends one day. Thank you, and good night, everybody!